How we find truth in literature is how we examine everything in life, through experiences. What is acceptable and lies in the plot or actions of a character is how closely we can relate it to our reality, which defines it if a story is truthful or not. When truth is split or skimmed in literature, we end up with archetypes, stereotypes, and redundant plot elements. There are variations of truth, but that falls under different ways to convey it, and in most situations, we're just generalizing the truth for a softer impact. Everyone has their own version of truth, and that deviates from the whole truth. Like my persona, this is a version of the truth I prefer because I'd rather actually not show my actual face. Truth cannot be generalized because you begin to miss the point of it. Changing the narrative of the truth is a better way to soften the impact on our egos. It's our egos as the audience or the writer that gets in the way of telling a truthful literature. Truth in Life of Pi presented an allegory to the situation of the survivors and himself, along with the circumstances that follows. The Japanese investigators both agreed that the animal allegory was better than the actual story. The animals are understandable in their brutality, and the audience can pull away from that, keeping our egos secured. But truth challenges all of our senses and rearranges what we once knew or thought. Truth is life-changing, and that type of shift in one's life can be hard to accept. In Good Country People, Helga was hiding under narcissism and her education as to boost her ego and claim some sense of importance and value. A simple man, far less educated, tricks her out of her fake life, and how does Helga react afterwards? Who knows? But looking back at Helga's reactions and thoughts previously, I could be sure that Helga is insecure, an insecure woman who cannot accept the truth about herself, which is her driving force as a character. Like I said earlier, it's our experiences that open the windows to truth, but it is our egos that prevents a good story to tell it. How we create or craft that truth as the audience or the creators, that's hard to say. It's our experiences that determine who we are, or what we'll make of anything that comes to us, and those experiences are just as unique as everything else about us in life. The question isn't really about how we write truth, but how we find the truth in our literature. O'Brien's How to Write a True War Story depicts a variation of truth that isn't very cohesive and usually can't attach a happy ending if it really doesn't fit. It's the experience of the character we observe as the audience that makes us understand what's going on. Through the character's eyes, we can determine a lot since we are outsiders or observers to the story. O'Brien tells how a story can be seen at many different angles when he talks about how Lemon dies from the Rat Riley's perspective and his perspective. There are very different emotions, reactions, and actions that take place afterwards. In O'Brien's case, war has an accumulation of feelings and experiences that are undefinable. It changes and morphs as the story is retold in an attempt for others who lack that rare experience to learn from. Through the character's eyes, we can determine a lot since we are outsiders or observers to the story. O'Brien tells us how a story can be seen at many different angles, and how when Lemon dies from Rat Riley's perspective and his perspective are very different, and their emotions and reactions that take place afterwards are also different. In O'Brien's case, a war story has an accumulation of feelings and experiences that are undefinable. It changes and morphs as the story is retold in an attempt for others who lack that rare experience to learn from it. O'Brien states how difficult it was for him to get one older lady to understand his story, and he ends it in frustration, as his views and truth of the story wasn't revealed. I think that's an important element of storytelling, or at least finding the truth in literature and understanding the truth in literature. If the truth is not revealed to the audience, then what was the point of it to begin with? A truth must be revealed, and to do so, you have to make your audience understand where you're coming from. If the story isn't capable of revealing its truth, or the truth gets lost somehow, then maybe that wasn't the full truth to begin with. A story needs the whole truth and nothing but. Even if it's a truth that isn't exactly agreeable or isn't something that we necessarily have experienced in our own lives, as long as we can get some grasping or understanding of it, I think that That's finding the truth in that story. As O'Brien puts it, it comes down to gut instincts. A true war story, if truly told, makes the stomach believe. To what is truth in literature is about instincts that are born from experiences and how truth is presented. Truth in literature can be generalized, will be, and usually conveys the wrong message to the audience. YA novels are usually the perpetrators of this, which leaves impressionable teens a bad lesson on truth and reality. The truth that of a story is its reality, and what can exist as truth in the novel defines the whole story, and how far it can go in conveying its point. How we find out if our book or literature is being truthful with us is by finding the connecting points of truth that failed, what we couldn't relate with, what didn't sit right with us, and stayed at the tip of our tongues is our truth starting to open up. These failed truths or skimmed truths are what helps us get to the actual truth. It's kind of like how people lie. They lie enough and you start to connect the dots because they slip up, they make mistakes. Well, when you're telling only part of a truth, you'll slip up and make mistakes. And through those mistakes leaves a trail, and that trail will lead to the truth. To find the truth in literature, we as the audience have to discover it. It won't be revealed by the author because they need us to believe in the story from beginning to end. When we see the flaw in our stories, we can start digging for the truth. Just make sure to leave your ego behind.